This is the 17th season of Bass Talk Live with your hosts, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pangrat. Btl is brought to you by Lowrance, Bass Cat Boats, APCO, Duck and Fishing, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, X-Zone Lures, Yamagatsu, The Bass Tank, and Denali Rods. Btl coming at you. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of Btl Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about in the afternoon. Matthew, a late afternoon show. I got to say this, first of all, before we even dive into it, it was so cool to be back in the gym, actually on the bench, on the sidelines, coaching since my accident, even though it was a meaningless summer league game. Summer camp. It was really cool, man. It's that special feeling that there was a time when I was going through all that. I was like, am I going to make it on the sideline ever again? And lo and behold, summer camp kicked off today in Lindsay, Oklahoma, and it was very special. I had a number of people, number of coaches that knew about the situation came up to me and said, "Hey, man, glad you're on the sideline." So. Good deal, man. Sorry we had to push the show back to 4 o'clock, but today and tomorrow, that's going to be the norm. And I can't remember us ever doing a late afternoon show.
We've done evening shows. We've done 11 o'clock shows. I don't think we've ever done a 4 p.m. show. It's kind of right there in the middle.
Yeah.
But hey, there you go.
Yeah. We're going to have a good show today. We're going to have Brett Hite on. The man had over 100 pounds at the BPT that's taking place on the Harris chain, and we'll get his take on having a day off, and the shootout takes place for $100,000, making that final day for winning his round, and we'll see what he has to say about going out and catching 100 pounds of bass.
Kind of an interesting BPT. This is stage 3 of the season, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's hard to believe, you have stage 3 going on in the BPT, and the Elite Series is on a break, and they only have 2 left.
I know, it is weird. It is
so
really
they're in
weird.
Totally different stages, but Bobby Lane went out and got the job done today in his group, in Group B. Part of me wonders, did he catch an extra 2 pounds just so he could say he caught more than Brett Hite? But I was going through some stats today, some numbers today, and there's just some names, and y'all probably know the names too of guys that just always seem to be in the top, right? Yeah. And I started saying, wow. Now, don't take this the wrong way, because all these guys can obviously catch them. There's a lot of Classic, a lot of Cup champs, a lot of Angler of the Year. Everybody is extremely talented to be on the BPT, right?
Yeah.
But then you got some superstars that always seem to be in the top 20. So I'm going to name off a list of names, and I want to see if you know what all these names who competed this week in Florida have in common, Mark.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Brian Thrift, Andy Morgan, Jordan Lee, Justin Lucas, Kevin Van Dam, Jacob Wheeler, David Dudley, and Edwin Evers. None of them made the cut.
None of those guys made the cut?
None of those guys made the top 20 in either their group in Florida. They're all watching.
Wow.
Is that not crazy?
That's got to be a first, man.
It does, and it's obviously fishing a little different. I think they went back down to the 1 pound or 1 pound 8 ounce limit in Florida. Kind of a weird time of the year on all the different lakes that you can go fish down there. But I mean, it's obviously fishing somewhat like Florida. You got Brett Hite and Bobby Lane out there absolutely smashing them.
Now, we were talking before the show whether or not this is the first time that the winners of both of the rounds had over 100 pounds. I couldn't remember one. I was trying to think maybe of the smallmouth events that took place, but I don't know. If there's anybody out there that might want to help us out on this one, is it the first time that the winners of both of their rounds or groups.
Groups. Now, here's the problem.
Had 100
because
pounds.
Remember what they did the first year, and the Table Rock one comes to mind, but those first year, you had an incentive to lay off of your fish because you didn't get an automatic berth to the end. So really, you would have to look at the guys, and even, I mean, Bobby and Brett, I think they laid off of their fish. I mean, Brett only caught 17 pounds, 2 ounces yesterday. I think he wanted to get to that 100-pound mark and still had a 25-pound cushion to get into it. The other thing that struck me is, it's kind of a crapshoot on which group you're in and who's in that group and what weather conditions you face and who in the other group is fishing your area, right? Mm-hmm. So would you not agree that there's an element of luck to that? Well, if you look at the weights, remarkably similar to what happened in both groups. It's crazy. So in Group A, you had Brett Hite with 100, Chapman was 75, the cut was 39.07 with MDJ, and then 39.02 was the first man out. You go over to Group B, you had Bobby Lane with 102, Ott Defo was 78, so about the exact same gap there. There was a guy that pulled away. 39.14 with Timmy Horton was the cut, and then 39.06 was 21st straight out. So the weights and the way that they were separated from the top and the exact weight that it took and how close the first guy out was, incredibly similar, even though they were fishing different days.
That's quite bizarre. I just received word this is not the first time that this situation has taken place.
Would it have been Table Rock, I was thinking?
Lake Fork.
Lake Fork, okay.
Is what I'm getting. So there you have it. But still impressive. Both winners over the century mark. And we're going to hear what Brett Hite has to say here in a few minutes. A couple of housekeeping items real quick. Tomorrow's going to be kind of a show off the cuff. Initially, we were planning on, until I had the whole camp situation, we were going to have Kara Davison, who is the vice president of sales for White River Marine Group. Mm-hmm. That is going to be pushed back until the following week. So next week, Kara Davidson will be on, and there's a little bit more news besides the other stuff that we were going to talk to her about, because over the weekend it was announced that Bass Pro Shops has acquired Hatteras Yachts. Have you ever heard of Hatteras Yachts?
You think I'm really deep in the yacht game, Mark? I mean, I do a fishing podcast.
I mean, it's a pretty well-known yacht company. Anyway, there was a story that came out in one of the North Carolina newspapers that a BTL fan sent me. I read it. Really interesting. It's going to increase the number of jobs in the area by 500. And I think over a 12-year period, they are expecting $1.2 billion in increased revenues for that area and the state of North Carolina as a result of the strategy that is involved with this acquisition.
What's a cheap yacht going for these days?
Dude, I don't know.
Like if you want to get a nuts and bolts yacht to where when you pull up to the island, everyone goes, "Oh, look at Jim! He got the minivan yacht, got the cheap yacht."
$500,000? I don't know.
No idea.
Have you ever been on a yacht?
No. Have you? Like a real yacht?
I have been on a real yacht. Now, I haven't sailed on a yacht, but I have been on a yacht.
Like where you wore like the Bermuda shirt and the white shorts and you came on and they had people that like handed you the food and...
No. It just happened to be in the same area. This was when I was a little kid.
Were you supposed to be on the yacht?
Yeah. The guy invited me and my dad, and George Fallon was the other guy that we were with. I can't remember his son's name, but I remember his name. We used to go bonita fishing all the time. And the bonita were running in this marina where these yachts were. So I asked my dad, I go, "Hey, can I run down there and catch some of the bonita?" And my dad's like, yeah, go ahead. And I went down there, and then next thing I know, this guy was chasing me off. And then I guess he felt bad, and he was like, no. He goes, "Come back." He goes, "Is that your dad up there?" And my dad was standing up on top of where the walk down was. And he says, No. Tell your dad and your friend to come down here. And then he gave us a tour of his yacht.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now they have tracker and yachts.
Yeah. In the story, and we'll get more information on this next week, they were going to move the manufacturing of stuff that is being manufactured in Miami, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And they're moving that to this facility. They were going to put $34 million in improvements in this facility. And they were also going to move the saltwater Ranger series to this facility. So they're doing a lot.
Are the boats like in Duck Creek or at Texoma, Like the ones that you really like.
The yachts?
Skip a half-ounce jig right next to it, just see how bold you can get. Are those considered yachts? Because I'm thinking Mark Cuban style yachts, but there's some yachts, some freshwater yachts.
Yeah.
They're the ones that just destroy you when you're running about 50 trying to get back.
Where was it? Was it Pickwick that in the little bay there? I remember we were covering a tournament and there was a yacht over on the other side. Do you remember that?
No.
And they were making a pit stop. I don't know how you accomplish this because I'm not familiar with the whole locking system on how those yachts get through there. But anyway, the dude was going from the Gulf all the way to somewhere.
Well, I feel like if it's your yacht, you have someone who worries about that. You just worry about the wine and cheeses.
No, that's good.
I'm surprised we've made it 12 minutes into the show and you haven't brought up your boy, Miles Berghoff.
Why is that?
Because he almost won the Toyota Series on his home pond there on Chickamauga. Jordan Hartman won it 51-13 in 3 days. That'll tell you how.
Well, I was going to try and get him on the show tomorrow, but you kind of spoiled it.
Oh, you were?
Just spoof.
Oh, sorry.
I
didn't mean
spur
that.
of the moment. Nah, it's all good.
All
right.
Podcast meetings.
A couple other things real quick. Make sure you check out the new videos that Matt has put out. You put those out today, right? Day 2
Yes,
of Pickwick?
I just put out day 2 of the Bassmaster Open on Pickwick, which we can talk about for 5 to 8 minutes because our man Joe just informed us that Brett Hite is stuck in traffic.
Oh, okay.
But he's running 5 to 8 minutes late.
That's fine. We can keep going.
Lovely Florida down there for you.
Miserable.
Bingo night. Yeah.
Miserable traffic.
Bingo night around the Harris chain.
No, anyway.
Traffic jam everywhere.
Matt does a great job with those videos. So you put day 2? Is that right?
Yes, day 2 of Pickwick.
Okay.
It's the video where I try to make the cut in April against 225 guys while I'm already 5 pounds out of the cut on spotted bass. That was my strategy. Let's go catch spotted bass to make a comeback on Pickwick when they're on the ledges. So I said in my Instagram post, I said, I'm not sure if I would advise this, but hey, it's what I did. And you can watch me attempt to catch spotted bass to try to keep up with the giant ledge largemouth.
And they will learn. All right, that's why people watch, because they want to learn, and they will learn. So
it's on the BTL YouTube.
Make sure you check that out. Matt does an outstanding job with those videos, and I've seen a lot of really good. Obviously, I see all the comments because they get sent to me via email. But yeah, man, people like what you're doing.
You get every single comment. How many emails do you get a day?
A bunch.
Really?
Several.
Really?
Several. Yeah.
So I know we had the post-game show with Caleb on last night, who won going away. On
Great interview, too, man. Yeah. That dude rocked.
Really good.
It was really good.
I wonder if he made it to Wenzel's.
Hopefully so.
But like I said, we're 3 stops in on the BPT, but there's only 2 left on the Elite Series. And I probably should ask this to Ken Duke when he was on, but what is how far back can you be in the Angler of the Year and not be watching the Classic in 2022, like if you have a really strong northern swing? Because I'm looking at a number of perennial Classic qualifiers who are having off years. I mean, I don't
know. It's a good question.
A bunch of guys. I mean, you've got Zaldane. Like right now, the cut is at 402 points, right? You got Zaldane at 365, Schmidt at 360, Cliff Perch 341, Keith Combs 331. You have the Angler of the Year, Scott Canterbury at 322, down in 62nd place. I mean, you've got a lot of guys who are on the verge of.
Gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Really gonna be fun to watch. All right, man. I want to pick your brain. As you mentioned earlier, we had Caleb on the post-game show last night, but I want to know your thoughts, Matt, on John Smith, who was a soccer fan, a spring football league fan or whatever, that just happened to be channel surfing, and he ran across what was being shown on Fox Sports 1, and he stops. And he watches, and he sees these guys fishing on basically what looks like land, right, with some of the drone shots. Because when you look down at those aerial shots, it looks like the dude's got his boat.
Hydrilla milfoil mat.
Just right there in the freaking backyard.
Never thought about that. If you have no idea what you're looking at and you see this, you're probably thinking,
what in the world is this guy doing? All right, so here's my point. Do you think that generates more interest from the non-fishing fan because it is somewhat unique in that perspective because you want to see what the heck is this guy doing? Or does it get to the point where, well, this is really dumb because all they're doing, they're throwing it up like this and it's going through this grass. And how are you going to catch fish out of grass like that for somebody that doesn't know anything?
Dude, you know what we need to do on BTL, Mark?
What's that?
We need to get someone on who literally doesn't even know what fishing is.
And have them watch that?
And have them watch it while they're here with the headsets on. And as they're watching it, they then comment on what their thoughts are, what they understand, what they don't understand, what they're interested in, what's bored with it. Like, you know that. You know a bunch of... I don't know anybody who doesn't fish. That's a problem.
Yeah.
But you could get someone in here.
I could. But here's my take. My take is it intrigued people. If you were channel surfing and you saw that drone shot where the boat is right in the middle of what looked like a ginormous backyard.
How did the boat get there?
What's going on? How can you get your boat? What, it looks like the dude's fishing in somebody's backyard. Not knowing
that's a good point.
Really what fishing grass is all about. And he continues to watch and continues to watch and continues to watch. I don't know. I just thought of that because I think those drone shots are really cool.
Yeah.
Especially when you're fishing that milfoil and a lot of the grass flats and stuff that he was fishing.
Great point.
It was really, really, really
That's a
cool
really great point.
to watch that stuff. But I just want to know what the common person, the non-fishing fan, really thought when they saw those images. And did they stay tuned or did they go on to whatever was on TV on Saturday and Sunday morning? I don't know.
It's interesting. So we touched a little bit on this on the post-game show, but we really didn't get into it. If we have a couple minutes, I want to get into it.
Okay.
Because obviously your longevity in fishing is longer than I would venture to say just about any other quote-unquote sport. Would you not agree? Mm-hmm. Golf is a decent exception. You have a lot of guys that are competing along with the 20-year-olds into their 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, how long did Jack Nicklaus and those guys play in their exempt tournaments?
Yep.
But Mickelson wins at 50 years old, oldest guy to win a major, I believe. Mm-hmm. Crazy scene there.
Insane scene.
Rick Clunn wins at 70, a couple years back there at the Elite Series on the St. John's River.
Yeah.
Both iconic. Some would venture to say, if not money-wise, but if you just do comparison, you know, Rick and Phil, who had 6 majors at the time, would you kind of put that on the same category? Elite Series that wins, that never believe your greatest days are behind you, and the inspiration and the people that you saw stick around for Rick's win. Now, like I said, different scale.
Yeah.
And Mickelson winning at 50, the PGA Championship. Would you say that's kind of a really good comparison?
It is. I think so. I think there's definitely some comparisons there. I don't know about the madness that was taking place from a fan perspective. Mm-hmm. I mean, the gallery that was behind him and the way that they charged him. Did you see the one dude try to give him a hug when he was
knocked?
Oh
back.
My gosh.
They needed to work on a little bit of crowd control. But I'm just saying, as far as the being embraced and like actually getting inspired by someone else's athletic achievement, I think it reminded me a lot of some of the feedback and some of the things you saw written and some of the emotional connection that people had to Rick.
Yeah, 100%.
Who are that just like it did with Phil.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it was cool. I watched it yesterday. I watched the end of it. The crowd was insane. Mm-hmm. And I listened to some sports talk radio on the way to the gym today, and they were making some of the comparisons of the mobs that were on the courses when Tiger, won, and they would follow Tiger up and stuff. But
oh, look, there's Brett Hite.
He is there. So
now,
he has made it through.
When you were out with your injury, Brad Hallman and I did a show with Tommy Biffle. And the listeners turned it into a drinking game to where you had to take a drink every time Tommy said the word bush. Because he talked about flipping bushes a lot. I feel like we could just set the precedent here before this interview starts and we bring in Brett Hite that anytime he says the word jackhammer, you have to take a drink. Of whatever. Coke, Pepsi, spirits, whatever floats your boat. I just feel like that would be a good opportunity since that word is probably going to get tossed around at will over the next 12 to 15 minutes.
Probably so. But well-deserved, though. You catch 100 pounds of bass, jeez. He can say it all he wants.
I bet he could have caught 150. I bet it was a thing where
you can ask him that.
I want to get to 100. And then I bet when he saw that Bobby beat him by 2 pounds, I bet they had a chat about that.
You think it pissed him off a little bit? Huh?
Not pissed him off, but I think Bobby, I could just see him being like, I got you by 2 pounds, Brett.
Yeah.
Should have flipped a craw, fatty.
Bobby Lane having a great year so far.
Oh, yeah.
It's good stuff. All right, we're going to take a break, come back with Brett Hite, and then after Brett Hite, we'll take another break, and I want to come back and get your opinion about OT.
Like,
you know where that's going?
Like old school angler OT fears?
No, not OT
or
fears.
overtime.
Might be overtime, extra innings, alternates, all kinds of different scenarios. All right, we'll get into that. All right, folks, we're going to take a break here in the afternoon. Come back with Brett Hite. Everybody stay tuned.
Fishing system starts with Lowrance HDS Live. The best fish finding tools, from chirp sonar and fish reveal to active imaging and new active target live sonar, and complete touchscreen control from your trolling motor to your big motor. For a limited time, building the ultimate fishing system will be easier on your wallet. Upgrade to HDS Live with a Ghost trolling motor, active target sonar, or live sight sonar, and save up to $800.
Basscat's legendary 20-foot platform has been paired with angler-approved accessories for 2021. Puma FTD features the proven hull used by many of the top names in bass fishing today, backed by a transferable lifetime warranty. The Puma FTD boasts a full team deck concept which enhances efficiency for you and your tournament partners. Turnkey tournament-winning performance. The Puma FTD SP from Basscat.
Let's face it, fishing electronics are no longer an afterthought. They've become a necessity. And at the Bass Tank, our experts match you with the right electronics, provide professional installation, and educate you to help maximize your catching results while providing support along the way. Because let's be honest, it's about catching, not just fishing. And when you're ready for better results, join the Bass Tank team. Visit us today on Facebook or go to thebasstank.com.
You've been waiting all week for this, and Sunline wants to make sure you're ready for it with bulk spools of all your favorite fishing lines.
That's so fun.
Bulk up with Sunline.
Utilizing my experience, utilizing my time on the water, evolving as an angler, and that evolution should never stop. You have to do it every day. From when you wake up in the morning, you got to be thinking about continually changing every minute, every cast. That's really the premise of fishing the moment.
Everyone, Brandon Polnick here. People always be asking me what I got tied on. I'm like, X-Zone lures. And they're like, Brandon, why you got X-Zone lures tied on? And I'm like, let me show you why.
The bite.
Get out of there. Get out of there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's freaking big. Get in here. Oh, God. Giant. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
I think you get the point.
All right, we are back. It is the afternoon in a rare BTL afternoon session. I still don't think we've ever done a 4 o'clock show.
No, that literally is during rush hour in Florida, though.
Oh, yeah. Bad time. But the man is still taking time out to come on the show, and that's funny. I never changed that.
What? That it just says Mark? Well, I mean, people know that I'm there.
That was from yesterday. My bad, man. I didn't mean to slight you at all.
I can handle it.
All right, let's bring in Brett. Brett, you there, man?
I'm here.
How are you, dude?
Hey, I'm doing great today.
All right, the first question is going to be from Matt. Matt, just dive in there and ask him that question that you were going to ask him about the 150.
About the 150?
Yeah.
Do you have to?
Oh,
take
could you have caught 100? Okay, it's a two-part question. Could you have caught 150 pounds, and do you think Bobby Lane intentionally beat you by 2 pounds just to be like, haha?
I don't know if I could have caught 150, but yeah, Bobby probably just beat me just to spite me. And I probably owe him like an 18-pack today because of it.
Oh, you had a case of beer on the line out of the total weight.
Yeah. I'm sure he's going to call me here in a little bit and be like, "Hey, B Hite, you owe me some cold pops."
That's what he says. He calls them cold pops, too.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. All right, man. Let's dive into boat days. Did things really turn out the way that you thought that they would turn out after practice?
You know, when I found that spot, I knew it was special. And, you know, just kind of searching around and what the state of Florida is doing right now with spraying grass for some reason, and all states around the country, which that's a big problem that we have right now. You know, when you find a bed of hydrilla that's like 7 feet deep and, I don't know, 400, 500, 600 yards long by 300 or 400 yards wide, you know, all the bass are going to be attracted to that place. So finding that, I knew, you know, it was going to be a special spot.
When did you find that? And like, how do you mentally prepare for that? I mean, thinking there had to be figured there'd be 25 guys that found the same thing, or did you know like, oh, it's about to go down?
Yeah. I found that the first day of practice. I started in that lake and, you know, just kind of drove around. I knew, to me, like the offshore grass bite should be the deal this time of year in Florida, you know, because like when I went at 1 and 14 at Okeechobee, that's what I explored for many, many years out there in that monkey box area. And it would only 1 or 2 days in that time period would be good, and then I'd lose it. And then in 14, it all came together, and I absolutely smashed them. So I was like, you know what? It's going to be offshore grass bite. If I can find that hydrilla with that, whatever lake it might be, that's what I'm going to concentrate on. And right off the bat, in the lake that I found them in, I found that giant hydrilla bed, and it was on. And so I kind of searched around, put some waypoints here and there, and then, you know, just kind of tried to disappear from the area. Try to disappear, and I have a couple other spots that I can see visually from where I'm fishing that have nobody's fished, but looking forward to Wednesday. I don't know what to do with 2 days off. I might go to Disney World tomorrow. I don't know. I literally do not know what to do. So I shot some stuff on another lake today for Major League Fishing, and but I'm just it's like, okay, my wife did all the laundry before she left, so the Lance camper's clean. It's like, I don't know what to do.
Wow. All right, day 2. I want to know how much strategy was involved in day 2 with what you felt that you needed to do to set yourself up for that final day, if any. Was there any strategy?
Yeah, my goal was 100 pounds. It really was. Because, you could have a guy, catch, you saw Ott today catch 60-some pounds today. The guy could really climb up the leaderboard and catch you. So, I thought I'd put, 18, 19 pounds on the board and then kind of sit and guard my area because, there are wolves out there that you got to fight off.
Here's the thing that gets me, Brett. This is why I was very interested in this tournament happening and following it. Since the dawn of tournament fishing in Florida, the formula for success is smash, hang on, barely freaking hang on the final day and come in with 5-9 for 9 pounds. Doesn't matter the time of the year.
Yeah.
I can't remember a Florida tournament, your wins included, Bradley Hallman's down there, where a guy just went out and just drilled them for 4 days. They're always hanging on by the end of it. In this format, it's unique because the weight 0 and the weight 0, you have to catch them all 4 of your days, and they're spread out over a bigger period of time. So that's what I kind of ask you. How have you implemented your game strategy knowing how fickle Florida is to catch them 4 days in a row, knowing that you're going to have to catch them 4 days in a row?
You mean 3 days in a row?
Well, no, by the end of the whole thing.
Yeah, he's only got one more day.
Yeah,
Right.
I only
That's
got
3.
But
days.
I'm just saying, going into the tournament, you didn't know at that point. You're planning for a 4-day tournament. It's a 4-day tournament for almost everyone. But you have to catch them every day. There is no hanging on in this format.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, and I thought about that the first day. I'm like, man, I'm just wasting them. Like, what am I doing? And I kept on thinking in the back of my mind, do I keep on catching them? I'm like, yes, you keep on catching them because you have to. No matter what, you cannot win the tournament unless you get in the championship round. Period. So if I win the round, then I'm advanced automatically to the championship round. So I really told myself, I'm in catch as many as I can the first day, and then see how it all lays, and catch just as much as I need to catch on the second day to advance to the championship round.
All right, Brett. I know there's some obvious answers to this question, but what I'm looking for is there's 2 lists. On this list, you have all the guys that knock it out of the park in Florida. On this list over here, you have all the people that absolutely struggle in Florida. Why are these guys on this list and the other guys can't figure it out?
That's a great question, Mark. I have no idea. I mean, dude, I'm from Arizona. There is nothing completely similar about Arizona and Florida fishing, and I've won 3 major tournaments in Florida. So I could not. I mean, I can't tell you that. This place just sets up the way I like to fish, and the fish are in the same stage that I like to fish. Offshore grass is what I would really prefer. I kind of use my structure roots of fishing out west to kind of visualize that grass and how it kind of lays out. But I don't know. I mean, it's funny. I mean, some people, I think they're just cursed by Florida, but I think it's more in their head than it really is their fishing ability.
Do you have to do any tackle prep when you come to Florida?
Like 4 rods.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, you pretty much are either flipping or throw. What's that bait you like to throw? That one?
Jackhammer. Take a shot.
I'm in all seriousness, though. I mean, are those the only 2 things you have out when you come? Like, is this selection pretty simple for you?
It is. I have a standard flip bait with like a arc tungsten 1/2 ounce weight with the MO flapping hog, and then a 1 ounce weight with a flapping hog, and then a couple jackhammers, stealth blade, and a swim jig. It's pretty much. I mean, it's relatively simple. It's guys. I mean, this is what everybody does not realize. It's like if you find the fish, it's easy to catch them. It's all about hunting the fish, and I mean, these guys are the best in the business. If you can find them, I mean, most of the time my grandmother can catch them. Yeah, I mean, it's just. It's finding it's all about location, and finding the fish.
So what is this thing going to take to win?
I think it's going to take around that 50 to 60 pound mark.
Oh, really? That low?
I think so. I think so. I mean, just with the conditions happening, it's going to be dead slick calm and hot. Well, that's what I'm hoping for, at least. Yeah, I just think with the conditions super hot, it's supposed to be 96, no wind. I mean,
wow.
that's not great fishing conditions, So,
All right. I have a question. Can I run a highlight? I have this highlight
Is it of
queued
Brett?
up. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure Brett could watch himself, can he?
He can.
Yeah, that falls into
I
the
can look myself.
It's a clip on MajorLeagueFishing.com, and maybe you can kind of describe without giving up the juice on what's going down on this clip. So
He's probably throwing a.
let me get it queued
What are you probably throwing in this clip?
Jackhammer.
Yeah, and
All
I'm
right.
going to say that it's probably on some offshore grass.
Here we go.
For those listening on iTunes, Brett is just hooked up with his jackhammer rod that's a lot more noodly than 90% of us like to throw, but none of us question it because he's Brett Hite. He throws it on what he wants. He's got this fish fighting on the side. It's a big one. Boat flips. It's apparently about a 4-pounder.
That looks good.
Yeah, and that's on the Stealth Blade jackhammer.
And there you go. That's good stuff right there. All right. Now, the water clarity, it looked a little stained. Is that pretty much?
Yeah, I mean, the lakes around here, I mean, I literally fished 2 lakes during practice, and both of them are very kind of a greenish color. I don't know whether it's an algae bloom or, again, the state of Florida spraying the grass, hashtag spraying the grass. But, normally, I mean, like where I'm fishing is not a place, like if you read the book of Florida fishing is not a place where you would catch them, besides having lots of hydrilla, because I mean, Florida bass like clean water, and it's not clean water. It's kind of a pea green color. So it's definitely different.
Are they there because of the spraying, in your opinion? Like, have they gotten pushed to that area? Would they not be there if it was just lush everywhere?
Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it. I mean, even the eelgrass along the bank kind of has a brown tinge to it. Like they've sprayed it, and Matt, like when you come here, like the eelgrass, I mean, it's like a dark green. I mean, it just looks beautiful. So I mean, I'm sure that's part of it. They haven't really figured out the GPS location of this.
Brett was hiding that spot not from other competitors, but from those guys with the Ghostbuster packs on in the airboats.
Or the helicopters. I mean, I was to the lake today doing some filming, and literally they had helicopters spraying today. So it's like,
wow.
I mean, it's kind of a sad deal. I mean, I don't know really what's going on in this country, but they are literally putting chemicals in people's water systems that have been known to cause cancer. I mean, like I see it in California, which is the most liberal state in the country, like at Clear Lake, and they're spraying the grass like crazy. And I mean, the people have a water filtration system right outside the lake. That's their drinking water, and they're putting chemicals in there, and they think that's okay. That is not okay. So it's a big deal for me. I mean, I think there's a bunch of bass anglers that we need to all get on board. That these companies that have they're lobbying to Washington to allow people to spray these chemicals in our water system, which is not it's not okay.
Yeah. All right. A couple of questions from the fans. Sean has a good one. So when do you switch from the regular jackhammer to the Stealth?
I mean, we designed the Stealth Blade. The first time I ever started using the Stealth Blade and was successful was actually when Panger got second at the U.S. Open. Which are you going to ever fish that again? What's your deal?
Well, we got to read it. I was fishing as a triple A,
and he won,
and I won.
You got first. Yeah, you got first.
Yeah,
I apologize. I sorry, but I mean that kind of scenario, clear water, deep reservoir. I wanted something a lot more subtle. And then let's say a scenario like yesterday where you go through an area with the OG jackhammer, and you catch a few and those fish are still there, and it gets high sun, dead slick calm conditions, just something a lot more subtle is really what we designed that bait for. It's just not as aggressive as a regular jackhammer, and I mean that's what we were looking for, something that you can use a little bit lighter line. I mean, it's awesome bait. Bass just love that thing.
All right, another question here. Jay wants to know, do you ever fish a chatterbait without a skirt with just a swim bait?
I do, yeah. If you want to get that bait down a little deeper, take that skirt off there and, put the Zaco on there. The skirt obviously makes the bait rise a little bit. So if you want to get it a little deeper, take the skirt off there, you're going to get it a little deeper.
One of the things that is interesting, and kind of my last question, but I think, so, I've been down to Florida and covered a lot of tournaments. I fished my first Open in Florida earlier this year, and a lot of talk about spraying of the grass and things like that. Well, I'm driving around, and I'm not computing, what are you looking for to tell if it's sprayed, how old it is, if it's just bad? Because you're looking at the grass and you're like, it doesn't look right. But then some of it, you're like, it looks right. And then you run into other guys at practice and they're like, the grass is trashed. And you're like, well, that would explain the last 8 hours of my day. But then some of it looks just like slimy, nasty, like you can clearly tell. And then here comes the boat with the Ghostbuster packs. And you're like, oh, there it is right there.
Yeah.
But just kind of an assessment for the common guy who doesn't know it. Like, what are the stages of spraying?
Yeah, I've learned a lot from, I've spent hundreds of days on the California Delta, which they spray a lot, and just learning what the grass looks like. I mean, obviously, the perfect grass is beautiful hydrilla or elodea. It's just like, it's almost like asparagus where you can just crack it and it breaks like asparagus. But, like here, I'll drive around on pad using my Garmin electronics and be able to find where that grass comes up, and whether it's eelgrass or, whatever kind of grass, I'll stop, make a cast, and I want to get my jackhammer stuck. Take a shot, by the way. I want to get my jackhammer stuck, take a shot again, in the grass and bring in that piece of grass to kind of figure out what kind of grass it is, or if it's nasty or dying or anything like that. That's the biggest thing for me, just kind of looking at the grass and, actually getting your bait stuck in it and figuring out if it's dying or if it's good quality hydrilla.
All right, man. I have one more question and then we'll let you go. I'm curious, to catch 100 pounds over 2 days, I'm really curious, without giving up the juice on the water, what was the biggest factor that really contributed to the success that you had to get to the 100-pound mark over those 2 days?
Oh, the biggest success is, it's area deal.
Really?
If you go to Florida, it's always area. Everybody will tell you, it's kind of a bad way to practice, but you go to Okeechobee, you look for the boats. It's just, Okeechobee's a giant lake, and there's 5% or 2% that have bass at certain times, So I'm just fortunate, there was not many boats and no boats in my area the first day and a few boats the second day. So, it's finding that spot where those bass are grouped up, and and obviously having the right tools to catch them, and that's either the original jackhammer, which I've been catching them on, the Stealth Blade jackhammer, and the new Grass Ripper by Evergreen.
All right, cool stuff. Anything else, Matt?
No, you really just don't have any play. You're just like free rolling in Florida for the next 24 hours.
I was going to go to Disney World, but I don't know what I'd do. I'd be like, I'm sitting next to a kid by myself, on a ride. And I'm like,
dude, if you do, you got to make the first cast with mouse ears on.
Yeah, it's just like I wouldn't. I mean, I'd feel so awkward. Like,
have you ever been?
I haven't been to Disney World. I've been to Disneyland, but it's just like, sitting next to a kid, it's like, I don't know. We're on Space Mountain, and there's a grown man and a little 12-year-old next to me.
What are you doing, mister? I'm here to fish.
Yeah, I got my off day. I'm going to Space Mountain.
Wow. Well, that
awesome.
could be entertaining for some people. Anyway, man, hey, can't thank you enough for taking time out. Best of luck to you on the final day. And hopefully we'll be talking to you afterwards, man, with a nice big fat check and a trophy.
That would kind of solidify my career. I think, I've won in all, whether it's Bass Elites, FLW, it's just to hold one of those Bass Pro Tour trophies up would be awesome.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll be watching. Best of luck to you, Brett. Thanks for taking time out and battling that traffic down there. We know it's brutal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You got to watch out for the golf carts around here.
A lot of Lincolns.
Yeah, a lot of Lincolns. All right, man. Take care, Brett.
See you guys.
All right. See you. There you have it, Brett Hite. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, really good stuff.
He didn't give up too much juice, and he's dead on. Location. That's what it is, man. All right.
It's crazy. I mean, I kind of have just a much better understanding. One of the things over the last couple, 4 or 5 years is, man, you kind of get into it and you start fishing these new locations. It's one thing to cover. But then when you're in and you're like, dude, like you cover a Florida tournament, right? Yeah. And you're like, well, idiots, they just go to the grass bed. So they throw a worm and they throw a jackhead. It's like super easy. Like, how does everyone not catch them?
Yeah.
But then when you're in it and you've got 7 lakes to choose from and all these different areas that you have to find it, you could see. It's like he said, once you're in the promised land, your grandma could catch them.
Yeah.
But that's the impressive thing that those guys have figured out is how to find them.
You're right. All right, we're going to take our final break, come back, and get Matt's opinion on the alternate. He has no idea what I'm talking about, so
don't.
We'll do it here in a minute. Everybody stay tuned.
Companies get bigger and bigger and talk about their fancy labs where they study fish behavior, but then they all go golfing on the weekend. We don't have a large laboratory to test baits. Why, you ask? We don't need a big laboratory because our pros fish, our employees fish, our salespeople fish, our suppliers fish, our mold builders fish, our owners fish, and our kids fish. This is our laboratory. Our R&D comes from time on the water, learning how to make fish bite. All that time on the water brings us thousands of hours of testing new products and improving current ones for all species.
All of us on the Pro Tournament Trail use Gamakatsu hooks.
Why?
Because they are absolutely the best.
It's not about how many bites you get.
It's how many you put in the boat.
Gamakatsu makes hooks for every fishing style.
We didn't come this far to lose fish.
Did you?
For more information, visit gamakatsu.com.
Pro-inspired, pro-designed. Tested and proven by legends on the water. Dominating the tournament trail for over 50 years. Everything you need, one legendary brand. Strike King.
Hey guys, Major League Fishing Pro Jacob Wheeler here with my new Signature Series line of rods with Duck It Fishing. We have my 7.2 cranking rod right here. Crankbaits can be very fickle, and having the right, having a lot of tip can be too much, and having not enough tip can, lose a lot of fish. So you really got to be careful. If there's one or two techniques that I'm really adamant about having the perfect action is a crankbait, especially like the square bill, a DT6, those medium running crankbaits in the springtime when those fish's mouth are pretty tough. That's when I'm really on top of having my actions just perfect.
Guys, what makes our Spro lures beat the competition?
I mean, you have to admit, we nailed it with my McSticks and rock crawlers.
Man, we've all won money on my plugs.
My Wamic shot put fish in my boat.
One thing's for sure, we all count on our Spro lures to beat the competition.
Designing cutting-edge baits with some of America's top anglers. Spro lures beat the competition. To see the entire lineup, visit a retailer near you or spro.com.
The Ned rig. What rod should I be using with the Ned rig? My favorite is the Denali Lithium multi-spin rod. It's our 7'4" length, great Ned rig rod. It's got a great sensitive tip on it. It's long enough where I can make long casts, which you're usually fishing clear water with a Ned rig, and it's got enough backbone to get those fish in. So check it out, Denali Lithium Series, 7'4" multi-spin.
All right, we are back wrapping things up here on a Monday afternoon. And I want to thank Brett Hite once again for taking the time out. A couple of days off, going to Disney World, who knows?
People asking, I see Steve asking about royalties. We talk about that too, like Rojas and the frog and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I know we'll never know. I'm not going to ask him. It's not right to ask him. How much do you think Brett Hite has made on Jackhammer royalties since that thing came out?
Thousands of dollars.
Not hundreds of thousands?
Maybe.
You think he's made $1 million in royalties since it came out?
I don't know, man.
15. Over 5 years of the Jackhammer? 6 years? I mean, dude.
7 figures.
Can you find anywhere when that thing wasn't? It was sold out. It's on back order. People buying them. I mean, every single one, they're $16. Now, I know a lot of that is because of the deal having to go over with Japan and all that. Yeah. And Marizo's name's on it, too.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't think so. I think it's probably 6 figures.
I think it's six figures without a doubt.
Yeah.
How could it not be?
Well, remember, depending on the deal that he signed and what the percentage is. Yeah, numbers are numbers.
I think he could buy Disney World. I think he could buy Disney World.
Could he buy a yacht? Could he be in the market for a yacht?
Called the Jackhammer.
Put the Jackhammer on the back. I remember there was a boat. I don't know if you ever saw this boat at Grand Lake. It was called the Dealer. It was in the Shangri-La Harbor, and it was owned by a guy that owned 4 car dealerships in Kansas City, in the Kansas City area. And it had 4 engines in there, and I think that it was like some ungodly amount of horsepower, like 3,000 horsepower. On Grand Lake.
That's necessary.
48 foot. It was in a special constructed dock that they built specifically for the Dealer, is the name of the boat.
Could you not see, Turks and Caicos, where are the islands? The Jackhammer parked next to Kermit? They're both from Arizona.
Well, you might as well go ahead and throw in Sexy Shad in there, too.
The Sexy Shad, Kermit, the Jackhammer, all 3 of them.
All 3 yachts right there in the same harbor.
To each other.
Heck yeah. That now, you put those 3 together, yeah, you're talking 7 figures, no problem.
I'll tell you what, though. Oh, my gosh, this just crossed my mind.
What's that?
Will Kevin get a yacht?
What do you mean?
Well, who just bought the yacht company?
Oh. Probably not, man. Probably. I don't know. What would he do with a yacht? He didn't need a yacht.
What does anybody do with the yacht?
Well, they enjoy the yacht.
Well, exactly.
They have time to enjoy the yacht.
Exactly.
That's like a retirement thing. Unless you got millions and millions and millions of dollars.
I bet Kevin gets a yacht.
No. Who knows? He might call it Sexy Shad.
Named the Sexy Shad, and it's just an off-white
cool-looking
hue
yacht
with a chartreuse stripe right down the side of it.
Yeah, somebody on the instant feedback said, you think he only makes 25 cents per bait?
I have no idea.
We don't know. We don't know even what the typical deal is based upon what the royalties are. Who knows?
According to Jeffries, it's not enough to buy a yacht.
Yachts are expensive, dude.
I think you'd be shocked.
How much?
At how much I mean, dude, you have to extrapolate numbers too. I mean, but then you also realize it's like a very small segment that's going to spend that amount of money on a bait. So you're automatically ruling out if you've got a original Chatterbait for $5.99 and the Jackhammer next to it, what percent of those people that are even in the market for that are going to go, oh, I want the 16, not the 4. You see what I'm saying? So but then you also have the guys that you're targeting who don't care how much it costs, and they're going to have 30 of them. So I think it'd be easy to overestimate, and I think it'd be easy to underestimate.
Yeah. The people that made the ink go dry are the only ones that are going to know that for the most part. They were involved in the signing of the deal. It's weird. That's one really, really kept secret in this industry.
Yeah,
it's never really gotten out.
I could honestly say that if you put my feet to the fire, I could not tell you what anybody makes per bait on a royalty.
No.
Ever. And I mean, I could tell you sponsorship deals some number-wise on guys and tell you like what they get compensated and stuff like that. But as far as royalties per
very,
bait,
very protected
they're just not
in this
talked
industry.
about.
Yeah, very, very protected. I don't know why. All right, I have to mention this, and then I want to get your thoughts on this. One of the coolest things that happened this past week. Oh, by the way, I don't want to sound vulgar or anything, but I bit my tongue really, really bad today. Can you see it? Would not stop bleeding. All
what?
Right? I screamed at a kid. I didn't scream at him.
What?
I screamed. I was screaming out a defense.
First day back.
And dude, I mean, I took a chunk out
Were
of it.
people like Coach Jeffries, you're bleeding from the mouth?
Yeah. And I had to grab a paper towel because I didn't realize it. Because it didn't start to hurt until like a few hours afterwards when I did it. And then it really, really started. And anyway, some of the words that I have coming out today sound really stupid. So I apologize.
You're good.
Whew, but yeah, it is. It's. You know, I guess you can't get stitches in the tongue, but yeah, it's a pretty good chunk. Anyway.
Well, let me see again. That's not even remotely close to stitches.
No, but it was bleeding really bad. Anyway, one of the cool things
that
happened.
Regrow?
Yeah.
Like your tongue will regenerate. It's like a lizard's tail.
Yeah.
Like if you bite a chunk out, it'll grow back. What if you bite the tip off? Will it?
I don't think so.
Like how big a
they
chunk?
They reattach it.
How big a chunk
I've heard
before
stories
your
of
tongue
that.
regenerates?
I don't know. I don't know. And what doctor do you go see when you have tongue problems?
Is there a tongue specialist?
I don't think there.
Throat and mouth would probably be what
ear,
it
nose,
falls
and throat.
under. Yeah.
But there is, a doctor that specializes in the tongue. You ever thought about that one?
A tongueologist? What would you call them?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't think there's somebody that exists.
I wouldn't be.
What do you specialize in? The tongue.
Did you know that a giraffe's tongue is blue?
I've seen a giraffe's tongue.
Yeah, because you're obsessed with April the
Not
giraffe
me.
on live stream.
Yeah, not me. All right, the wife loves the giraffes. Anyway, getting to the point. I apologize, folks. There was something really cool that took place, and the name is John Cox. Do you know what he did? Come on, man. I softballs. I'm throwing.
What he did?
Soft toss.
He made the cut at Gunnersville, right?
Yeah, and then what did he do?
Did he go to Fish MLS?
Yeah. And he made the cut. Now, here's what happened, and this one I want to get your opinion on, and we'll wrap up the show with this. He did not fish day 3.
At Gunnersville.
He went to the Harris chain. So he finished in whatever it was, 48th place, I believe. All right, and if I'm wrong, correct me, please. But he did not fish that day. He zeroed. He got the minimum check. What I want to know is there a solution to where when you do have situations like this, whatever the reason is, and I'm going to draw a box and put whatever reason in that box that you cannot fish on that day, that an alternate should be let in to that spot. All right. And then from a point standpoint, let's say John Cox would move down to 49th, and whoever was in 49th would then move into the cut and be able to fish on day 3. All right. The only reason I bring this up, this situation occurs sometimes in bowling. It sometimes occurs in golf too, where you have alternates. You're the alternate. If something happens with somebody that made the cut, you're in. All right. But I think where the situation gets a little sticky is, well, the guy that finished in 49th didn't get a check because he didn't finish 48th or above. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden, he's fishing on that day. Does he get a check? And how much do you pay John Cox in that situation?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think you should give that opportunity to whoever finished in 49 to be allowed to fish on that day 3. Financially, I don't know how you would work it out. But he knew, and let's say there was a family situation that occurred or some other situation of reasons in that box that you could not fish on day 3, then whoever the 49th or whatever the alternate would be allowed to fish on that day 3. The sticky situation is, how do you do the points and how do you do the cash? Do you agree or disagree that should be an option if you get the money and the points thing worked out?
No.
Why is that?
Because you treat it just like a 0. And guys 0 all the time, and he finished 49th, and he's going to finish 49th just like a guy who fished and caught 0 fish finishes 49th. Then you also then run into the situation later in the year. Well, what if you're way inside the classic cut and your buddy finishes first out of the cut? Well, all you have to do is say, I'm not fishing. And then that guy gets in, and then he can move up with points.
Dude, I'm just bringing this up. I'm not for or against.
I
Some
understand.
people are saying this is not a concept. I'm asking whether or not.
They do that in bowling.
Oh, yeah.
But does there have to be a certain number of guys in bowling, so you don't have guys bowling alone? Or
typically, what would happen is you would cut to in certain tournaments, you cut to the top 24.
Right.
Well, then you bowl 24 match games, which is round robin, of which you bowl everybody one time, and then you have a position round.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if somebody in the top 24 can't perform due to injury, due to whatever the situation is, then the 25th place bowler takes their spot.
Yeah, but then you also have 2 on every lane, so you don't have one guy bowling by himself.
That's why you have to do that.
Right.
That's
well,
why
you don't have to do
alternate's
that
in
at fishing. Like, there is no...
No, I get it. But if somebody made the cut and they knew that they were not going to be fishing that day, should that 49th place person be allowed to be the alternate?
No, just keep it the way it is.
All right. It makes sense. It's simple. It's clean.
Yep.
It's effective. You don't have to mess with points. You don't have to mess with cash. But you know where I actually got this idea from? Where I get a lot of ideas from? The fans. I had a fan send me
No, I mean, I
suggestion.
get it. I understand it. But it's not impacting anyone else. It is, but it's not impacting anyone else on that final day. It's not like some dude goes out and goes, man, I didn't catch him because John Cox wasn't fishing.
Yeah.
Just like, but a guy who's always used to in professional have someone bowling next to him in the lane, that would affect you. It would affect your lane, would it not? The lane is going to change because there's going to be less balls rolled on that oil pattern. If you only had 23.
Well, remember, you get 30 bonus pins if you beat somebody, and if you get it,
that's a totally different situation because every result is mutually exclusive.
I think they do it in golf too. If you can't participate due to injury or whatever, and then the alternate is let in.
Yeah.
I don't recall. I should have asked Ken Duke last night on the show whether or not there's ever been an alternate situation. Now, I do know that when they cut for one of those special events, I remember like 10 or 15 years ago, that somebody wasn't able to participate in it, so they took the next person in.
Okay.
That's a little different. That's not really the true alternate situation. But anyway, to make the cut and then go to the Harris chain, make the cut there, that's pretty impressive, man. He is shelling out a lot of cash this year, and we'll see how the net result is going to end up at the end of the year. And earlier in the show, you brought up a great point too, man. There are only 2 events into it. Is that right?
This is their third
event.
3. And there's 4 of the 6, I believe. And Brett's fishing the pro circuit as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of tournaments. That's a 15 tournament.
It's a lot of stuff going on.
Tournament schedule. I didn't realize it was 100 degrees down there.
That's pretty high and no wind. And it's humid and the bugs are everywhere, man.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun to watch on that final day. All right, dude, anything else?
No. Who do we got tomorrow?
Else? Here's what we're going to do tomorrow. Because I was in such a holding pattern because of the vice president of sales for White River Marine.
Right.
I didn't really have anybody lined up. So we could do a hotline show. What do you think about that?
Yeah, we did one last week.
There's a couple of people I might be able to get on, but I was really in that holding pattern until I just got the word right before the show that we're going to move it to next week. So just stay tuned. Matt and I will do something tomorrow. We'll have somebody on, or we'll take some phone calls from the fans tomorrow. I do know that tomorrow I'm going to read some of these emails from fans.
Okay.
They're hilarious, man. We have the best fans. They're just very, very entertaining. Hang on. I want to read this one real quick. It's not that long. Here. Did you hear the co-angler stories that Frank and I did? Did you ever listen to that show?
I listened to part of it, but I didn't get through the whole thing.
Do you know, did I ever tell you the story about the lady on the show that I called Helen throwing up on me on Grand Lake?
No.
You need to listen to that show. Anyway, this is from Jeff, and I don't know what state Jeff is from. And he says, told your co-angler story to a buddy about your drunk bassin and Helen. Do you know about that? When I went to go pick up my partner and he was drunk and passed out in the parking lot in Martins?
I've heard that one.
Okay. Later that day, he casted over my line or something like that, and I responded, don't make me go Helen on you.
That's funny.
So, meaning he was going to throw up green pea soup all over him if he threw over his shoulder anymore.
That's very funny.
But good stuff. And, one of these times we need to hear some good co-angler stories. We need to hear some funny co-angler stories from the people out there. Some of the experiences that you've had in the back of the boat with the pros in the front of the boat. And then the other thing that I want to mention, I'm starting to get some of the marshals. Remember, what did I do, Matt? I paid for some of the marshals.
2 marshals, yes. We have to get them on.
Yeah, and one of them was at Lake Guntersville, and I can't remember where the other one was. So we're going to get them on pretty soon.
What's the update? I came in, like I said, I was working on my YouTube video that's out now. I dropped it right before the show started. So it's just on the Bass Talk Live YouTube channel, Day 2 of Pickwick. Yeah. Like I said, where I try to make the cut catching spotted bass on Pickwick in April. But I saw you had another page pulled up.
Oh, yeah. My Btl Academic Scholarship, folks, the information is up. It is out. A couple of donations I haven't even put on there yet. I have donated $1,000. We have another BTL fan that has donated $1,000. Several other people, $100, $50. So here's the deal, and I can get into it tomorrow. But bottom line is this. I put together this scholarship for somebody that is in the high school class of 2022 that is going on to bass fish and college bass fish at the next level. And we are going to award them mainly based upon what they've done inside the classroom. And in the month of February, they're going to be able to submit their application on why they would deserve the scholarship. But here's the cool thing, folks. If we can get, I'm just going to throw a number out there. If we can get to 10 grand, we're going to give 10 $1,000 scholarships to anglers, high school anglers of the class of 2022 across the nation. Mm-hmm. Very, very important. The feedback that I have received from a number of people about this, stressing the importance of academics, and they are behind this 100%. So just something I really feel very, very passionate about. And we're going to try and get a couple of college bass fishing coaches on the show here over the next couple of weeks. So that's kind of the plan on that.
Also, in the next couple of weeks, we will have, and I don't believe he has been on the show before, which is it a travesty or a tragedy? It's a travesty. It's Todd Castledine. He's like the ultimate major team tournament guy. He's fished with Russell Cecil. He fished with a bunch of... does he fish with Jason Bonds too?
I think
He
so.
fished with a
I'm not
bunch.
sure, yeah.
Anyway, if you were to put together the Mount Rushmore of big money team tournament guys over the past 20 years, Castledine would be there. I said there'd be a couple guys in Oklahoma. There'd be a couple guys down there in that Rayburn, Texas area. There'd be some over in Alabama.
Yeah.
As far as where you can fish for big money and guys that dominate and take advantage of it, they would be there. Also, I just got the proof today. We're going to have BTL buffs.
Oh.
Or BTL
for those buff wearers
sunshades
out there.
I was like, dude, I saw how well the t-shirt sold. I saw how well the hat sold. I wanted some lower cost stuff. You know what I mean? In that 10 to 15 buck range. So we're going to have that. Also, they found some more of the Richardson 112 hats, just like the ones that were the one-time order, because we have X number of patches. I think we got like 100 patches or less left. So if you missed it, we're going to open up the store the week after the Bassmaster Classic. And as of now, we will have some hats and the buffs at the Bassmaster Classic. I've never done this before. I don't know. I think I might work on a package deal, a buff, a hat. Keep the photos coming. I love getting the Instagram messages of you guys. We've got a lot of guys who have won tournaments wearing BTL stuff.
That's cool.
Like jackpots, like 5-6 pounders, big giant smallmouths. We've got it from Florida to Texas to Mille Lacs to North Carolina, out in California. Dude, it's freaking cool.
It's
I mean,
really
Jeffrey
cool.
started this. He built this thing, and I mean, you could have had it a lot sooner, but your aversion to apparel.
Hey, somebody's calling for visors. Never even thought about visors.
You might have to do the Hellabass thing where you just take a pair of scissors to the hat. Like I said,
Byron Velvet did that all the time.
we're working with
too.
limited resources here, folks. When we start going with the vests and the visors and the heavy, we're working with like stuff that you can drop a 20, get some stuff, and I'm not on the verge of bankruptcy.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Hey, I'll talk a little bit more tomorrow about the pledging, and even if it's $5. The cost of a spinnerbait, I don't care. This is for a good cause when it comes to academics, so we'll get into that more tomorrow. Make sure you check out Matt's videos, the Pickwick stuff, and soon the James River stuff, too. Very soon,
James
right?
River is going to be a 3-part. I actually filmed the process of getting out there, which was quite the process. And practice, and some practice. Some videos of my first time, like where I'm like, oh, God, that's tied. That right there, folks, is tied.
All right, there you have it. So join us tomorrow. Weird time again, 4 p.m. Central Time. Matt and myself in studio, and then we'll see what we come up with for the show tomorrow.
People want a BTL ring, a dye sublimated jersey, a visor, rod socks.
All kinds of stuff. All right, everybody. Have a great Monday evening. Enjoy. That's it. We're out of here.